Feel good.
You're adorable. Thank you all very much. How about a big hand for Street? Give them a nice round of applause, you guys. Street. How's it going? How you guys doing? Okay, you sound a little angry. I am so excited to be here in Elizabethtown. I actually ran into Orlando Bloom out on the sidewalk. Punched him in the stomach because we all know most of the scenes were shot in Versailles. So, still a little unhappy about that. I'm very excited to be here in Elizabethtown. The gateway to Rhineyville is what I've always called it. And man, what an honor for me to be here. My name is Mike Nilsson. I am originally from New York City. Thank you. One guy, yeah. The rest of the crowd, welcome to Kentucky. Don't touch anything on the way out. They don't like you around here unless, if you're from New York, unless you are a basketball coach. Apparently you have to have that kind of pedigree. Oh, sorry. Pushed the wrong button there, didn't I? Now I live in Louisville now. Louisville. I had to learn how to say that. Louisville. It's not an easy sound to make when you move there, but it kind of sounds like you've got an object lodged in your throat. Louisville. Louisville. Like you got a mouthful of gravel. Louisville. That's where I live now. So I'm originally from New York, and then I lived in Tampa for 6 years, and now I'm in Kentucky. So the next logical big-time showbiz career move for me, freaking Wyoming. I'll be working in freaking Wyoming. That's the capital, by the way, freaking Wyoming. And yeah, I'll be working Yukon Pete's Comedy Outpost and Bait Shop. So if you're in the neighborhood, stop by. Buy a snowshoe, get some dirty jokes from your buddy Mike. That's how it's going to work for me out there. But no, actually, my wife is from Louisville. She kind of indoctrinated me to the way of Kentuckians. I had to learn a lot when I moved here. Like this whole dry county situation is kind of interesting. Anybody live in a dry county? What's that? Not anymore, right? You guys are moist here, isn't that right? Sounds kind of gross, doesn't it? It's a moist county. Dry counties all over Kentucky, all over Tennessee. I went to Tennessee. They have entire counties where it's illegal to sell, purchase, or possess any kind of alcoholic beverage whatsoever, but you can have all the fireworks you want. Basically what they're saying is you're not allowed to invite your buddy over for a cold beer, but you can invite him over and blow his hand off with an M80. That's perfectly legal. Then I found this out, Lynchburg, Tennessee, where they make Jack Daniels, dry county. It's a dry county. That's got to be horrible if you work at Jack Daniels. Imagine that. Imagine the temptation. You just want to have a little sip and you have to stand there and be tempted. You're standing over a humongous vat of Jack Daniels for 8 hours a day, just looking down. Man. Finally, you're looking for the supervisor. You're like... Woo! Let's go get some fireworks, man. Come on. It's my Tennessee voice. I grew up in New York. Had a pretty awesome childhood. My dad is actually a retired New York City firefighter. I like to tell people that because that's what happens. Yeah. People always applaud. They recognize the fact. That's the only positive thing that happened from the tragedy of 9/11 is that now people recognize that police officers and firefighters are heroes. And I never thought of my dad as a hero when I was a kid. I just thought of him as a guy that didn't want to play catch with me. But apparently, was that a little too real for you guys? I'm sorry. Perfect blue-collar background. My dad was a fireman. My mother was a nurse. She was an emergency room nurse. And like a lot of people, yeah, is that what you do? Yeah, round of applause. Appreciate you bringing the show to a halt right there just to stop and have yourself recognized. That's good to have nurses here. I'll be expecting you to gauze me up after the show. So, no, people do talk about taking your work home with you. My mom being an emergency room nurse, it got a little crazy every once in a while. She'd be like, dinner's ready, stat! You know, code blue, it's pot roast, cover the doors. Now she's putting the salt and pepper shakers on the table. Clear. You guys are kind of picking and choosing the jokes you like, and I appreciate that. I have two daughters now that are 18 and 16. They're beautiful, intelligent young ladies. The problem is they're just not cute anymore. No, when they were 6 and 8, they were cute. You know, I would dress them up as those two little sisters from The Shining, put them at the end of the hallway. Daddy, come play with us. It was awesome. Tool around the house on my big wheel. We had a whole scenario worked out. Run next door, chop my neighbor in the stomach with an axe. And then they went and grew up. They grew up, and I think my kids had a pretty good childhood. You know, I think I was a pretty good dad. We had a couple of slip-ups along the way. Like, Christmas one year was a little tough. Right around that same age, you know, they're 6 and 8, maybe even a little younger. I don't remember exactly how old they were, but here's what happened. We have a tradition. My wife and I started this tradition way before we had kids. Every year at Christmas, we listen to the Motown Christmas CD. And what it is all your favorite Motown artists are there doing your Christmas favorites. And the highlight for us was always the Jackson 5 doing I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus. Because it's awesome. You know, you've got the great rhythm section, you've got the Jackson brothers doing the harmonies, and then right in the middle, just out of nowhere, little Michael Jackson, little 10-year-old Michael goes, I did see Mommy kissing Santa Claus. And I'm going to tell my dad. Now, I don't do a very good Michael Jackson impression. I can't get my voice. But I'll translate for you what I said. I did see Mommy kissing Santa Claus, and I'm going to tell my dad. Now, I don't know how much you guys know about the history of the Jackson family. But Michael Jackson's dad is the last person you want to share this information with. You know? I saw my dad beat Santa Claus with a microphone stand. You know, it's not... You don't want to share that information with that guy. And that was our thing. Every year we would put it on, and every year I would do my funny little Michael Jackson impression. So when they were little, like I said, my daughters are little. My wife and I are decorating the tree. We're drinking eggnog and bourbon with no eggnog. And Dad's being goofy. I thought the kids were out of the room, so I'm doing my little Michael Jackson riff. I'm like, I saw my daddy beat Santa Claus with a microphone stand. And I look over, and the two little girls are standing there like, I find the best time to really destroy your children is during the holidays. You should try to save it for that. Right around the same time, we had another really interesting family experience. We were at Disney World. Now, we were walking past the Splash Mountain log flume ride. My two daughters and my wife and I were walking, and then we see this about a 3-year-old kid, little teeny tiny kid, comes running out from the exit of the ride. He's soaking wet. And he's crying his eyes out. Just then this guy walks up to him and grabs him by the shoulders and starts shaking him and screaming in his face. And he goes, look, I told you, it's just water. Now, I saw this and I thought, hey, wait a minute there, Sid Vicious. You know, this is America. If you're going to beat up your kid, take him in the bathroom like we do here in the U.S., man. Don't do that out in front of everybody. But we just thought that was the funniest thing. And so the whole day we're walking around Disney World going, look, I told you, it's just water. And I'm doing it over and over again. I love just beating a joke to death, you know. And then after a while, the kids are doing, I told you, it's just, you know, we're in the little cafe. I told you, it's a cheeseburger. You know, we're having a blast. And then we wind up at Space Mountain, longest ride of the day. Longest line for the ride. And you know how these lines work. You know, you kind of double around and you double back, and you're standing in front of different people at different times of the day. And just at this perfect moment, my younger daughter, who was 6 years old at the time, goes, look, I told you, it's just water. And we look across from us, and there's the guy with his kid. The kid's like, Daddy, that little girl sounds just like you. You know, American women are always talking about this sexy English accent, right? How would you like to have that guy in the bedroom? Look, I told you. It's me sexy underpants. You know, not all English guys sound like James Bond. Some of them sound like James Bond's chimney sweep, right? Step in time, I told you it's only water. Thanks. I don't dance that much in my show. I know you guys are disappointed. Hey, you guys in the front row, you having a good time? Yeah. Cool, man. Louisville fan? All right. That's, yeah, I mentioned basketball coaches. That seems to be the trend. You know, I moved to Kentucky in 1989, which is the year Rick Pitino came to coach at the University of Kentucky. And I grew up on Long Island. I grew up a half an hour away from the town where Rick Pitino grew up. And I had a tough upbringing. You know, I grew up with a lot of Italian kids that weren't so nice to me because I wasn't Italian, I guess. I wasn't Roman Catholic. They didn't like me. I wore glasses. You know, when you wear glasses as a kid, it's horrible because, you know, people will make fun of you and they'll take your steal your glasses off your face. And then as you grow older, it gets even worse because when you wear glasses as an adult, you ever have this happen? People walk up and go, "Hey man, can I try on your glasses?" And then you hand them the glasses and they try them on. They go, "How do you see out of these?" Well, having bad eyesight helps, you moron. How do you see out of these? What are you, blind? I mean, is this guy like walking up to amputees on the street? "Hey man, let me try on that artificial leg. Come on, let me try it on. How do you walk with this? What are you, crippled?" You know, it's not, Thank you. One lady enjoyed the joke. Ma'am, you enjoyed that joke like 30% more than the rest of the audience. You're going to be my comedy pal for the rest of the show. You'll be my wingman. We're like Goose and Maverick. We're a team. We're on a highway to the danger zone. You and me. We're going to take off our shirts and play volleyball. You are dangerous. So Rick Pitino, I digress. Rick Pitino comes to Kentucky in 1989, and I'm seeing him on the press conferences. I'm not much of a college basketball fan at this time, but I see this guy on TV that kind of reminds me of every Italian kid that ever beat me up in the cafeteria and stole my lunch money. But now he's grown up and he looks like something out of a Scorsese movie. Have you seen the guy? He's got the hair and the suit and the shoes and the accent. He's like, "Yeah, we had a tough night on the boards. And by the way, I got a body in my trunk. Hey, check it out. Hey, Tubby, get over here, Tubby." You know, he had nicknames for all the coaches. "Jimmy 2 times. Start the drill. Start the drills, Jimmy 2 times. Then Rick Pitino left. I don't know if you knew about this. He left. He left UK and went to coach the Celtics, and everybody was furious. And then he came back to the Commonwealth and started coaching at the University of Louisville. And then the Kentucky fans were livid. They were so angry they had to go find their own Italian gangster coach to coach their team, right? So now we have Pitino and Calipari, and the whole thing is starting to sound like the menu at Olive Garden. You know, it's like, you're ordering your meal. I'll have the fire-roasted Patinos with Calipari sauce on the side, and a big double shot of Gillespie, because I'm going to drink and drive, and I want to... Oh, sorry, is he here tonight? I didn't mean to offend. I don't want to offend all the Gillespie fans out there. I know there's tons of them. Moved here, and my wife, you know, I met my wife at a comedy club, and here's what happened. Okay, I'm from New York and then Florida, and I'm traveling around, I'm doing stand-up, and I met this woman at a club in Louisville, and she, you know, here's what happened. We're talking after the show. And again, it's the accent that gets you. We're talking after the show, and I said some smart aleck thing, and she goes, "Shut your pie hole." I'm like, well, I don't know where that is, but I will shut it immediately for you, sweetheart. "Shut your pie hole." I'm like, "What is that?" She goes, "It's a hole where you put your pie." And she closed the deal right there. I'm like, "Here you go, take me away." Shortly after that, she invited me to my first derby party. I had no idea what was going to happen there. I said, "What do I wear to a derby party?" She goes, "Oh, just wear a little shorts outfit." Little shorts outfit. I'd never heard that expression before. Just wear a little shorts outfit. Like, what am I going to do? Dressed up as Angus Young from AC/DC with the beanie and the shorts? And Little shorts outfit. Now we have a family, man. You know, and here's the thing. My kids have grown up now, basically in the era of the 2000s. You know, now that they're teenagers, they went through that whole time period. And I guess they had a pretty good childhood. Is anybody in that age group? Anybody in their teens? Yeah, how was it? Was it okay to grow up during that time? There's a couple of things that are different. I don't want to sound like an old geezer, you know, that talks about how great it was back in my day. But the one thing that I think about that's different is is Halloween. You know, which is my favorite holiday, and it's just not the same because now they have the Halloween store. I don't know if they have them here in E-Town, but every year in Louisville they pop up just out of nowhere. They move into a deserted Circuit City under the cover of darkness, like a band of gypsies, and all of a sudden they put a cheap plastic banner on the front, Halloween Express, like, hey, it's Halloween, come on in, it's August, come on into the Halloween Express. It's temporary. It is temporary retail, and it's there and it's gone and it's weird and it's, you know, and you walk in there and it's just sad and pathetic. You know, it's not scary. You walk in there and it's like, this is just sad and pathetic. You can feel the souls of the departed Circuit City employees kind of lingering in the mist. Faded letters on the wall that used to say home theater. Now there's like 57 different variety of severed limbs hanging up there. And of course they have to staff this place. And I know the economy is tight and people are looking for work, but how would you like to be the HR guy that has to hire people from the Halloween store? Like, yeah, I just noticed here on your resume, you're a registered sex offender and you've got a swastika tattoo on your neck and bad breath. You're hired. You are the new CEO of the Halloween store. You start Monday. Here's some information about your 201k. I had them paint these for me this afternoon, by the way. It was in my contract. I'm like, yeah, I'll come in and work in a room that's the color of tomato soup, but I'm going to want some pictures of people's butts on the wall. I demand that. Halloween was scary and mysterious when I was a kid. We made our own costumes, right? Every other year, I would manage to talk my mom into buying me a store-bought costume. I'd get like the Spider-Man costume from Woolworths. You know, I would just cry and roll around on the aisle until she finally agreed to buy me this $3 costume. And it had two parts, you remember? There was the mask, the plastic mask, and then the body part, which was just basically like, it was kind of like that weird, pilled up, kind of silky, crappy material like your mom's old panties, and the whole thing was made out of that. And it tied in the back like a hospital gown. You know, I'm a terminal patient at superhero general. You know, and it was blue and red. It said Spider-Man across the front in case you were confused by all the webs and you didn't know exactly who that superhero was. It would say Spider-Man across the front. And then you had like, it was never long, the pants part was never long enough. So you'd have like red and blue down to here and then brown corduroys and Keds at the bottom. And I grew up in New York. It was cold at Halloween. So my mom would always be, just as I'm making it out the door, put your coat on. Like, you know, Mom, I'm Spider-Man. I'm not going to wear a coat. I'm Spider. She's like, I don't care if you're President Nixon. Put your coat on. Yeah, showing my age on that one. So I tried to get away with still being Spider-Man, so I decided I'll put the coat on underneath the Spider-Man costume. So now I'm this lumpy, misshapen Spider-Man with a big fur parka hood around the top and the mask in the middle. And the mask was a nightmare too because I wore glasses, you know, so I'm like, all right, I can put the glasses on underneath the mask over top of that, and then the little elastic thing, you know, that'll snap. And so I'm like, all right, I got it. I'll wear the mask and put the glasses over the mask. So now I look like an intelligent and erudite Spider-Man. I can spin webs for my wrist, and I can also do your taxes. I am... And all the Italian kids in my neighborhood, hey, Spider-Man, let me try your glasses on. How do you see out of these? See, where's my wingman? You need to back me up. It's you and me, we're together. We're like Soda Pop and Pony Boy. We're gonna stay gold, Pony Boy. Oh, man. But I am 50 years old, and thanks. Thank you. Couple of the ladies back. Woo! All right. Woo! Guy's 50. Woo! He's bald. Woo! Yeah, this is a mess, man. You know, I go to an old man barber shop about once a month, and last time I was in there, I knew I was officially passing the threshold into old age, because right there in the middle of my haircut, the barber stops and he goes, "You want me to do your ear hair?" How do you answer a question like that? Well, no, I'm actually thinking about letting them grow long. I want to get some big old curb feelers poking out the side there. I go to a full-service old man barbershop. I recommend it to all the guys. Kick it old school at the old man barbershop. First time I went in there, I had no idea what was going to happen. Guy finishes my haircut and he goes, "You want the vibrators?" I'm like, "Where?" And why is it plural? How many are we talking about here? But here's what they do. They actually strap electric vibrators to the backs of their hands and they turn them on, click, and they will rub your shoulders and your neck and your scalp with these electric vibrators. It's weird because, you know, I was enjoying it a little more than I probably should have. How often do you get that kind of a treatment, you know? And the weird part is you got to sit there in the barber chair and look at yourself in the mirror while another man is rubbing your back with vibrators strapped to his hands. I'm going, "Oh man, this will never work. I'm married, this will never work out." My wife and I will celebrate 23 years of wedded bliss in October of this year. Thank you. Thank you. We have a great relationship. We're best friends. Best thing about my marriage, though, without a doubt, is the fact that my wife tells me intimate secrets about all of her female friends. She gets off the phone with these women and then runs and tells me all kinds of secret, disgusting details. Then I get to meet these women, hang out with them at parties, which is awesome. I got beautiful women walking up to me going, "Hey, you're Mike. You must be the comedian." I'm like, "Hey, you're Susan." I've heard so much about you. You're a bad girl, Susan. All right, that got a little creepy, but I've been married a long time, so bear with me on this. Bear with me on this. No, we decided to start a family, and then we had trouble becoming pregnant, I guess is how you describe it. We had to try for a year and a half to get pregnant. Now, I don't know if any of you guys have had this experience, but it's a weird concept, especially for a guy, because you spend most of your adult male life trying not to have this happen. Now, all of a sudden, we're trying to get pregnant. My wife was very diligent in her efforts. She brought in a team of gynecologists on the project. They had a little war room set up there in the back of the house with charts and graphs and schematics and test tubes and beakers, and I would occasionally be involved in the proceedings. Every once in a while I would be summoned to appear, and I wasn't complaining that much. I'm a guy. I'm like, "Hey, the new cologne's working." I fooled myself into thinking that it was actually some kind of romantic situation. It was more of a scientific exploit is what it was. I felt like I should have been paid a stud fee of some kind for my services. Year and a half, man. We cried, we prayed, we worried. My wife went on fertility medication, and that finally worked. It worked. Yeah, that did the trick. Turns out now both of my kids have 3 heads, which is awesome. They're like a little choir over in the corner. "Scaramouche, Scaramouche, will you do the fandango?" No, I'm kidding. But they did work, because after a year and a half of thinking it was never going to happen, our dreams came true one morning when my wife threw up in the sink while she was brushing her teeth. Yay! Yay, puke! We were happy about the puke, because that's a symptom of pregnancy. Morning sickness, we were like, yay, puke! I mean, if she would have pooped, I don't know what we would have done. We would have had a parade of some kind through the house. Puke and poop, puke and poop. Yeah. Oh, man. Then she was pregnant for like 9 months. What's that about? we went through all the steps in the pregnancy procedure. My wife had an ultrasound done. They take you into a room, they hook up a little television monitor, and they show you this little pulsating orb on the screen. They're like, look, there's your baby. I'm like, no, it's not. You're landing planes at the airport with that thing. What is that? That's not. You can actually find out after a few months if you're going to have a boy or a girl. This is weird, creepy technology, in my opinion, because, you know, God bless you. God bless you, pony boy. Stay gold. We're working together. It's you and me. We're like salt and pepper. We're going to push it real good. We're a team. Give my partner a hanky, somebody. So, yeah, you go into this ultrasound room. Now you can find out if it's going to be a boy or a girl. And to me, it's creepy because I'm thinking with the technological advances that come along, 10 or 15 years from now, they're going to not only tell you the gender of your baby, they're going to tell you their whole personality, too. It's like, hey, Mrs. Johnson, you're going to have a boy, and he's going to be a real jerk. Going to walk around asking people to try their glasses on. See, we brought that joke back from before. See how they come around like that? Thanks. Now, then we finally had our babies, man. It was amazing. The first one, you have no idea what's going to happen. Everything's new, everything's scary. The second one, you're a little more relaxed. Perfect example, the pacifier. With my first daughter, whenever she would drop the pacifier on the ground, we would immediately pick up the pacifier, put it in a sealable Ziploc container, stick it in the backpack, then give her a brand new, pre-sterilized pacifier that we had boiled in water ahead of time. Now, with the second kid, you pretty much draw the line at raw sewage, right? You don't care. Pacifier could fall in a mud hole, you bend over, you pick it up, you dunk it in your beer, there you go. Oh, but that first one, man. I remember when my older daughter, who's now 18 years old, college student at Center College, and and I remember watching her learn to walk the first day that she actually took steps. I mean, she made it like 10 feet down the hallway. Started out a couple of stumbling steps, and then she went 10 feet straight down the hallway. I'm chasing after her. She turned into the bathroom, and then while she was in the bathroom, she fell over. And you know what they do? They'll just pull up on whatever's their height, you know, like a stool or an ottoman, or in this case, the toilet in the bathroom. She pulls up on the toilet, and just as I get to the door, I look. Yeah, that bottle made it a long way, man. That's not something I expected to have happen during my toilet bowl joke. Welcome to Elizabethtown. There you go, man. See how you like that, funny man? We'll be bowling with beer bottles during your show. No, so she grabs hold of the toilet. Next thing I know, she's licking the toilet. She's having a great time, hunkered right down on it. And I'm standing in the doorway going, honey, get the camcorder. It's before I could videotape things with my cell phone, so I'm like, bring it's a big giant camcorder. I'm like, we could win 10 grand with this video. What are you kidding me? The kid's licking the toilet. The toilet was never cleaner. That was the cool part. She did an amazing job. What I did after a while is I held her by her ankles so she could get under the rim. There you go, honey. There you go. A couple of you guys are just as sick as I am. Those are my people. I'll tell you guys a story before I leave you. I have been doing stand-up comedy for 32 years. I have written a lot of jokes. Hopefully you've enjoyed some of the ones I've told you tonight. But, okay. Something happened to me. Something happened to me a few weeks ago that I just had no idea I would ever be in this situation, because I got pulled over. I was in southern Indiana. I was doing a show. I got pulled over by a cop in a small town, Crothersville, Indiana. And thanks for laughing. I wasn't doing the show there. I wouldn't work a little dink town like Crothersville. I was gigging in Seymour, okay? We're not going to mess around here. So I'm driving home from Seymour to Louisville, and in Crothersville, I broke the speed limit. I was going 50 in a 35, and a cop pulls me over. It's the nightmare scenario. We're all, some of us have experienced it. Some of us just have the nightmare because it's the blue and red lights in my rearview mirror, and the cop walks up to the car, and he shines the flashlight in my face and says, "Can I see your driver's license?" I hand him my license. He looks at the driver's license. He goes, "Oh, you're from Kentucky. What are you doing up here in Indiana?" I said, "Well, I'm a comedian. I was down the road here in Seymour doing a show." Guy doesn't skip a beat. He goes, "Well, tell me a joke." So I've got a crucial judgment call to make at this point. I'm not going to try to tell him something from my show. He's not going to get it. "I told you it's water." I'm not going to. That would not get me out of the ticket. Then I'm trying to think of a joke. That's what comedians call them. They call them jokes. Because people walk up to you and tell you after shows, they'll tell you a joke. "Hey, come here, comedian, I got a joke for you." And usually they're the most foul, disgusting, horrible, racist, homophobic things you can possibly imagine. I'm not going to tell this guy. He's probably some right-wing fundamentalist wacko from Crothersville. He'll take me to the pokey. I'll wind up in the pokey. So I thought of the only clean joke I know. And here it is. And so imagine me in my car, cop here with a flashlight, and this is me sitting in my car telling a joke. I felt like I was on stage. He had the flashlight on my face. I go, "Okay, this duck walks into a grocery store, and he walks up to the service counter and says, 'I'd like to buy some duck food.' The guy at the service counter says, 'We don't have any duck food,' so the duck turns around and walks out. The next day, the same duck walks up to the same guy. He says, 'I'd like to buy some duck food.' Guy at the counter says, 'We don't have any duck food.' Duck turns around and walks out. The third day, the same duck walks up to the same guy at the same counter. He says, 'I'd like to buy some duck food.' Guy at the counter says, 'Look, this is the third day in a row you've been in here. I have no duck food. I've got dog food, I've got cat food, I got fish food, I got bird seed. I have no duck food. If you ask me one more time for duck food, I'm going to nail your feet to the floor.' Duck turns around and walks out. Next day, same duck walks up to the same guy at the counter. He says, 'You got any nails?' The guy says, 'No.' The duck says, 'Okay, you got any duck food?' And he handed me my license back. 'You can go, sir. You are free to go. Thank you all very much. Good night.' Thanks a lot. I don't know how to do that.